Hey guys, what is up? It is No Help and welcome back to another video today. So today we've got the game jam. Let's check it out. I'm excited. So our 6th biannual game jam wrapped up a few weeks ago, and it's high time we shared the pitches with all of you. Now, there aren't quite as many pitches as you're used to this time, and that's because several teams decided to focus on back-end systems and concepts for sailing. We decided to avoid spoilers, and should these projects make it into the game, you'll see them in a future sailing blog instead. Meanwhile, we've got bosses, lodges, minigames, slayer monsters, and gigantic jellies made for blood. There's something for everyone. Alright, so the first thing up on this list is a Skilling and PVM boss together, which is actually pretty cool, and I'm not going to try and pronounce that name right now. But anyways, right here, the elevator pitch for this is this content aims to create a mutualistic activity for PVMers and skillers to play together to defeat this nightmare troll. Skillers focus on supply and demand, while PVMers provide new materials while fending off the boss until dawn, so the leader can sleep peacefully. This content offers a bridge between the two playstyles in early to mid game. So it's an early to mid game type boss that has skilling and PVM. Very interesting. So let's see the game loop here. So the skillers woodcut, fletch, cook, and craft to provide the fighters with new upgraded armor, ammo, and jam. With this loop, we focus on rhythm and smooth gameplay. And then the PVMers fight in the range style and enter the encounter with a base armor and can pick up base ammo. Okay, so the boss drops troll scraps that the gremlins transport back to the skillers as the fight processes. Okay, so yeah, it seems like you do work together, obviously. Very interesting, and it shows at the bottom kind of right here. So the wood right here, you can make it into a tier 2 ammo or something like that, or an armor kit, which is cool. Tier 3 ammo even too, with the troll scraps, and then yeah, make a bow or whatever. And then there's the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 armor, and that's the boss himself. Alright, so this boss is a literal nightmare cooked up with the tormented mind of a Fremennik warband leader named Brynja. Years of his grandmother's scary stories have left him with a serious troll phobia, and now he's trapped in the terrifying nightmare realm, overseen by the worst or the most horrible troll of all, the new boss. Luckily, Brynja's friend has a plan to get him out, with your help, of course. Okay, so yeah, this does look pretty interesting. I'd like to see maybe some of the rewards you could get for doing this. Skillers will use their woodcutting, fletching, cooking, crafting, and agility skills to gather supplies and craft equipment for the PVM team. To begin with, they'll chop wood to craft tier 2 ammo, which can be farther improved using troll scraps obtained by the PVM team. So it looks like you don't get to choose, maybe. It's maybe like you get a random, you're either going to be a skiller or a fighter, I'm not sure. They'll also store up their damage dealers' defenses by making stronger armor and better bows. Meanwhile, the party chefs will be cooking up some delicious jam to keep the team fed and healthy while they battle through the night. Yeah, it definitely sounds interesting. I really do like all of this concept art right here. Very cool. The boss himself does look interesting too. Kind of reminds me a little of Scurious. Meanwhile, the PVMers will be using their crafted equipment to fight the boss, knocking off precious troll scraps to be delivered back to the skilling team. While in combat against the boss, you'll want to watch out for some tricky mechanics, and while you're skilling, you need to keep up the rhythm on all your different tasks. In short, this is a smooth, cooperative, rhythmic experience which players with different interests can all enjoy together. Plus, the soundtrack is an absolute banger. All right, we've got the player-owned lodge and fragment harvest minigame. This looks very, very cool. So long ago, a tea merchant and his wife, a renowned tea maker, came across an island dotted with the most vibrant pink flowers they have ever seen. They fell in love with the land, built a lodge, and began their life there. Soon, the tea maker and Ira realized that the island was a gathering place for all the ghosts of sailors who found themselves lost in the afterlife. Cool background story there, definitely. Looks like there's some wood cutting areas, there's a little mine there, maybe a fishing spot. And yeah, there is one of the ghosts. Aunt Ira wanted to give these spirits peace, and so she used the cherry blossoms to develop the perfect spirit smoothing tea. She set up a spirit tea shop, and between the lodge and the bustling tea shop, she and her husband lived a long and happy life together. That's good to hear. Someday soon, you may find yourself sailing to a long abandoned island dotted with cherry trees. There you'll find the ghost of Aunt Ira, who needs your help to repair her tea shop and bring peace to the spirits of the island. With her blessing, you'll restore the lodge and make it your own. So it looks like this might be an island we sail to. I really do like the background story, just from what I've already heard. Sounds like a great quest. Alright, so on the island you can find a few different amenities to reconstruct. Traditional skilling locations for mining, woodcutting, fishing, and crafting, tree planting spots, and a player-operated sawmill. That is very cool, and it looks like you can actually make your own planks, maybe for like a different cost or something like that. You need to repair the saw first. We've got fragment harvest. This looks interesting. With the lodge up and running, the spirits are dying for a nice cup of tea. The fragment harvest minigame is all about the care and craft of making tea. There's no rush or time limit, and you can stop and start whenever you feel like it. The basic loop involves using a basket to collect falling blossoms, brewing the collected petals, and serving the tea to the visiting spirits. Okay, so the rewards for this. A little birdie told us that some of you are hoping for more pink rewards, and this minigame has left them in abundance. Spirits will leave you blossom tokens as a thanks for their tea. Trade them in with Aunt Ira for a selection of paste rewards. Okay. Whoa, pink, graceful. Why do I actually really like that? This was an absolute must ever since mod Skylark shared her vision. We couldn't get it out of our minds. You'll see us wearing this on Wednesdays. Cool. And then we've got the cherry blossom tangleroot for, I guess that's for the farming pet. And we've got the blossom spirit tree. I'm assuming that's for the POH. Yep, for the player owned house. Cool. So we've got Slayer Monster Smorgasbord. Looks like there's a few new things in here. A mage, prison, a monk, demon, and an armored troll. We'll just go over this very, very quickly. So please welcome the Slayer Monster Smorgasbord. So it looks like there's a bunch of things in here, okay? So the mage prison, this magical floaty box thing, has a special mechanic. Every 30 seconds, it enters a vulnerability phase where attacks on each side reward you with increased attack speed. Pray and AFK for slower kills, or bring a slow, high damage weapon to exploit this weakness. Okay, that's cool. We've got the Poise Monk. He's just standing there. Okay. This unassuming fellow seems to have nothing special going on, but dish out enough damage and he'll transform into a grotesque demon form. When his true form is revealed, you can use Demon Bane spells for guaranteed max hits. Armored trolls. This troll is much like the others you've seen wandering aimlessly through the mountains, but this one's armored. Armored trolls will quickly use their shield to increase their slash defense, bash the shield with a crush-based weapon, and you'll shatter it, granting your future slash attacks guaranteed accuracy. Alternatively, a stab weapon will consistently, if slowly, pierce through their armor with little effort on your part, but bringing the right tools for the job will seriously speed up your grind. Seeing a theme here, the smorgasbord is all about providing opt-in mechanics that let you speed up your tasks without making them frustrating, a frustrating obstacle to overcome in your pursuit of Slayer Mastery. So I like that they're giving lots of options here for the players who do want to AFK and the players who don't. Sanguinancy, okay. Hey, that sounds like some sort of awesome blood magic. What's that? It's just making giant, grotesque jellies to get your hands on some blood shards. Right, well, we caught up with Mod Arcane to go over the finer details. I didn't really know what I wanted to do for Game Jam this time, so I loaded up Reddit, saw a highly upvoted post complaining about fires and blood shards, and got to work. There have been loads of suggestions to put blood shards on other thematic drop tables like the Nightmare or the Theater of Blood, but I think these solutions can be a bit unpredictable. Considering the power of the Amulet of Blood Fury, the supply of blood shards is something we need to be careful about. If this item becomes cheap to use, it could have long-term negative impacts on PvM across the game. I decided to come up with a way for players to convert other thematic resources into blood shards, making them less frustrating to obtain without tanking the price. Love this. Introducing the Blood Jelly. Pump up an absolute boatload of resources into one massive blood jelly and snag yourself a blood shard for your time and resources. Simple. I'm really interested to hear whether or not players like this direction. If not, we can always go back to the drawing board. I do like this because, one, it gives Iron Man something to do, I'm assuming, with their blood runes or something, to make blood shards, you know? So how does it work? Deep within the Sisterhood Sanctuary, you'll find Sister Urdusil. She happens to be something of a scientist with a lifelong ambition to make a world-changing discovery. Thus far, she's only made a machine that makes jellies, but they are blood jellies, which are way cooler than the regular kind, okay? So you can use her, it looks like you can use her machine, you'll kickstart a bloody, wonderful game loop. Okay, gameplay loop. Pop loads of blood-related items into the vat. More blood items means a fuller vat, which means a bigger jelly, which means a better chance of obtaining a blood shard. Okay, so it isn't guaranteed. That's interesting. Pull a lever from the machine, a blood jelly, kill the blood jelly, profit probably. Okay. The jelly scaled indefinitely, so you may want to group up with others if you've made a massive one. Make it rain blood. It's like a grand. Okay, so yeah, you can just load it up with. Look at this. Look at the size of the character versus the blood jelly. I'm assuming this might be a very hard thing to do. Well, I'd love to see the mechanics of it, but I do like the idea of this. But we'll have to see what items sort of you would be putting into this. Generally speaking, you'll need to put a lot of items into the machine to have a reasonable chance at a blood shard. These items must be on theme, like blood runes, vials of blood, or even blood essence. Ideally, you'll throw in enough stuff that your input is roughly the same value as a blood shard. The ballpark is about 10 million GB. Crazy. If that seems a bit steep, you could compensate by creating dozens of smaller jellies and spending more time killing them. Okay, so I would love to see the drop rates, you know what I mean? Solving a problem, choices and trade-offs, infinite scaling, and a giant cube of blood. So yeah, I do like the idea. I'd like to see more on it, obviously, like a dedicated post to this. But I do like the look of it, and I like that there's options to get other items. I wish they would do this for a lot more in the game. Here we go. We have the King Kyatt. So it is a hunting / crafting skilling boss. Finally, man, another skilling boss. Some of the best content I think the game has ever made. Okay, so overview and lore. So the Kyatt King, or the King Kyatt, is a skilling boss located in a cave near Relica. He is the most powerful Kyatt to ever exist and was restrained underground by the Fremenniks as a result. However, he has recently started to summon lesser Kyatts who now pose a threat to nearby towns. So the gameplay, the objective of this activity is to temporarily weaken the King Kyatt by placing parts of his own kin / mobs into a sacrificial fire. Once the fire is at 100%, the ritual can take place and the encounter will end. To achieve this, players will need to do the following loop. Okay, so craft one of the 3 unique traps. Place the trap to your assigned Kyatt, okay, and then place the Kyatt drop in the fire and repeat. Okay, very weird and interesting. There will be 3 new traps players can craft during the encounter, utilizing resources found in the environment, and each one yielding a different drop from the Kyatts. Every 60 seconds or so, the prime sacrifice will change, so keep an eye out on what trap is best to craft. So number 1 is the net on roots. Number 2 is a bear trap. And number 3 is a poison mushroom. Cool, cool, cool. And look at these rewards. So you can get a Kyatt pelt. Can be crafted into the spottiest cape. Has an increased catch rate and more weight reduction. Interesting. Finally, one that actually is useful. We've got the Kyatt leather. Can be used on the Hunter Guild to get a new cosmetic. Can be used on a Hunter Guild outfit. Oh, the outfit. Okay. We got the Kyatt hairball. Used to sew rogue gloves and gloves of silence into a new item, the gloves of rogue silence, with combined stats, increased chance of success, and stacks with the arty diary. Cool. And we've got the Kyatt First scrap, used on the Kyatt outfit for temporary upgrade, which removes damage from hunter creatures. Will degrade over time, but X amount of upgrades will make it a permanent buff. Very, very cool. I like how these rewards, one is cosmetic, right? But I like how these rewards, maybe the spottiest cape is a little better, but these rewards aren't like taking over what's already in the game, right? They're kind of like putting things together, making them a little better, you know, more convenient. Hunter techniques. So hunter techniques will be KC based rewards, where after a number of successful encounters have been completed, they can learn new techniques, including the ability to craft an infinite stake for pitfalls, deadfalls, removing the need to cut logs. That is amazing. The ability to set 2 pitfalls / deadfalls at once. The ability to craft hunter gear yourself. The ability to make a stackable bait, omni-bait, to make baiting traps easier / save inventory space. And the ability to transmog Quetzal into a raven inspired. Cool, man. I really like this. So far, this is one of my favorite ones. So we've got Cacao Trees and Chocolate Brewing by Mod West. Okay, so what better solution to your stamina woes than a tasty treat made with your own 2 hands? Varlamore's dense rainforest has perfect conditions for farming cacao trees, so step right up to the start, bringing rich, delicious chocolate to the masses. So new patches and seeds. Like any farming expansion, this includes some new seeds and patches. Cacao trees have their own patches, uniquely suited to their needs. At level 60 farming, you'll be able to plant cacao seeds in these patches, grow cacao trees, and harvest the beans. You can process your beans into chocolate paste, a core ingredient in our new brewing additions, or into a chocolate powder, which will save you some time at the Calamancher's chest. Chocolate is delicious all by itself, but budding chocolatiers might want to experiment with new flavors. Varlamorians like to add a bit of a kick with some chili powder. Where do you get that again? True. From another new seed, you can plant hot peppers in an allotment patch at level 55 farming. That's so cool, hot peppers. And I guess you can add those together. If you're more sweet than spicy, you'll want to try something not so vanilla. Instead of sweating it out in the Khazari jungle, try planting the vanilla orchard as blessed by Ralos himself. You'll unlock these seeds at level 75 farming, and they can be planted in any flower patch. Coincidentally, they'll also protect your peppers from disease. How convenient. The Garden of Ralos. All these new seeds will require new patches. Welcome to the luscious Garden of Ralos, a brand new area within the rainforest with patches for cacao, flowers, calquats, and an allotment. So it's another calquat one too. The surrounding town is inhabited by citizens who love the cacao, is trumped only by their love of commerce. Trade leftover beans for farming upgrades, brewing upgrades, and other rewards, including a spade crafted to dig into rich rainforest soil, allowing you to harvest from allotments and seaweed patches faster than ever before. I like that already. Compost is pretty good at keeping produce alive, but for your yields to really flourish, you'll need to generate a bit of a buzz. The garden houses a set of beehives for this exact purpose. Keep the bees happy with food, water, comfort, and a stress-free environment, and they'll drastically increase your yields from the cacao and calquat trees. They'll even hand over some honey for your trouble, of course. Okay, so we've got chocolate brewing. The brewery in the Garden of Ralos can store all your ingredients ready to be brewed into some nice cocoa liquor. Let's see how it's done. Instead of water, use your buckets of chocolate paste, which you should have in spades if you've been diligently tending to your cacao plants. Then we'll dig into our herb stock for our next ingredient, Harlander or Amatote, depending on the drink you're hoping to make. This is a pretty bitter mix, so you'll need to sweeten things up with corn syrup made from cornmeal or honey. Then it's time for the flavor. So here are the recipes. This is a cool looking item. Is this the chili? The chili thing on it? Yeah. The spicy cocoa liquor. Chocolate paste, Harlander, corn syrup, and chili powder. Grants 10% energy per sip and provides a 30% reduction to energy drain. Cool. If it's really annoying to make though, like, is it worth it? You know what I mean? It sounds like there's so many ingredients, but if they're all stored there and whatever, it could be pretty cool. We've got another one here. This one is the sweet cocoa liquor. Chocolate paste, Amatote, honey vanilla pods. Grants a 20% energy per sip and provides 50% reduction to energy drain. So this one's obviously better. These tasty treats are so good you'll want to take them everywhere. To do so, hollow out a calquat and turn it into a handy keg, giving calquat some use now too. Cool. Let us know what you think of this sweet pitch. So I do like it. It's one of those things where if they're too annoying to make, people aren't going to do it, but it sounds like they might be pretty easy to do. It's another thing to add to your farm run daily, and maybe a good way to actually get stamina potions in a way, sort of like stamina potions. How many sips do we get out of these things though? You know what I mean? Like, is it 4 sips? We've got the mounted trophy rework. Okay, there's a lot to look at here. Before we kick off this pitch, we want to talk about the more popular player-owned house proposals from last game jam, which offered a new furniture options and themes. You overwhelmingly voted yes to bringing these to the game, and we're excited to bring them to you, but this will require a massive amount of work. We can't provide an ETA just yet, but rest assured we're working on it. Meanwhile, here's another player-owned house improvement that lets you show off your collection of heads like never before. Oh god, okay. Seriously, that's the pitch. This feature simply lets you quickly switch through the mountable heads you've unlocked without having to rebuild the display each time. Like, that should have already been in the game, man. All of these pre-existing level requirements will still apply as follows, obviously. And you can even upgrade the space while your heads are on display so that you don't need to spend a single second without your emotional support basilisk head staring lifelessly at you from the wall. Guests can also admire your full collection of heads. You can still mount excess ones for XP, and most importantly, will upgrade the stuffed fish display in the exact same way. So it looks like you can display all your fishes and all of your heads. Coming soon to a player-owned house near you. Miscellaneous things by Mod Necro. Not everyone goes into Game Jam with a goal in mind. Mod Necro found himself throwing a dart at the wall to see what he could find, and then another, and another. And the result is this selection of small but mighty changes. So we've got the Holy Wrench. On paper, the Holy Wrench increases the number of prayer points restored by prayer potions by 2%. Since this is tied to your prayer level, the 2% is actually wildly inconsistent and pretty confusing to boot. You can learn all about it in the relevant Old School RuneScape wiki page. Our first proposal is to flatten the bonuses. So level 41, level 62, and level 83. Okay. Our second proposal is more complex and involves a system we call devout points. So drink a dose of prayer potion, gain devout points equal to 40% of the prayer points restored, and capped at 1 dose worth of points. So never more than 30 at 95. For example, at 95, you'd restore 30 prayer points for a prayer potion dose and gain 12 devout points. While a prayer is active and you have devout points stored up, you'll have a 50% chance to avoid prayer points draining. This sounds like a huge buff. Unless I'm reading this wrong, this sounds way better. Yeah, so this works out to approximately 20% more prayer points restored by prayer potions, which could absolutely be brought down a notch. We think a system like this has some potential as a neat inventory-based prayer booster. We'd love to hear your thoughts on it, whether that's as a reworked Holy Wrench or a new unlock to reflect the power on offer here. Now for something actually exciting. So yeah, it's one of those things, right? If you carry this Holy Wrench with you all the time, that's one less inventory spot, but you save 20%. So it's one of those things, right? Sheep herder, sheep AI fix. The Black and West Arty has been a real struggle for its citizenry, but more importantly, it's a total pain for us adventurers. Nobody wants to spend their afternoon miserably prodding sheep who seem less interested in marching to their pen than getting stuck on rocks, mushrooms, invisible corners, and other sheep. With the technological advances of the last decade, we can now make the sheep in sheep herder move vaguely as intended, meaning you'll be able to salvage your mistakes without abandoning an unfortunate sheep to a new life stuck on a mushroom. Okay. Rare loot table and black steel ingots. A rare loot table. A veritable horde of grand treasures and valuable. Wait, what do you mean it's only worth 8,000 GP? This so-called rare loot is available basically anywhere in Gielinor, which does make it less exciting than the name implies. Don't worry, we've no intention of touching this iconic part of the game, but we do intend to make it more interesting. What if rolling on this table, you could also roll a second rare loot table, which averaged 100 to 400,000 GP. That'll make you feel better than getting adamant javelins again. True. Potential entries to this new table include the black steel ingot, a rare metal favored by chaos dwarfs. On its own, it doesn't do a whole lot, but it can be a potential reinforcer if alloyed. Use one to create a sturdy frame for a dragon square shield and improve its dragon fire immunity, just like an anti-dragon shield. That's cool. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of work on here, but we'd love to know what you make of Mon Necro's plans. Cool, cool, cool. Well, that was an absolute ton that we covered in the game jam. Let me know down in the comments what you think of some of these. Some of them I'm really excited for, and some of the other ones I'm like, you know what I mean? It's been a busy year for Jagex though, and the updates have always been phenomenal, and cut them some slack because of the sailing. That has definitely taken up quite a bit of their time, so I'm really happy we did get a game jam, and I'm excited for some of the updates for sure. Thank you guys so much for watching the video today. I will catch you in the next one. See ya later.